Hi. Hello. Okay, so my name is Lhey and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a live. I wanted to do a journal with me. Usually I film this process in a time-lapse video because it really does take a while, but only because I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's the final truth. When I say I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I kind of like I'm so undecided all the time. I kind of take my time and all that, but this time I chose papers and, I have my inks in here. I have my stamps in here that I might be possibly using. So I kind of have everything in here so that, okay, I think this is not going to take me forever, but just in case. All right, so what I'm using here is a Midori notebook or an MD paper or an MD notebook. They used to make the Traveler's Notebook, and now those Traveler's Notebook, that's the name of the company now, is a Traveler's Company, I believe. And then Midori switched to creating just notebooks like this. And so this is a MD notebook, an A5 size. And you can use this with any A5 covers as long as they're a little, because it's really, really thick. This is the one that has like a, I think, good for 365 days for a year book like this. So this is really going to get chunky. And I'm super excited for this to get chunky because this is going to be fun. Okay, so I've been using this as a journal, as mixed media stuff, kind of like a scrapbook, kind of like for writing. So I have everything in here. So we're going to flip through because there's not a whole lot in here. So I have pictures in here. I kind of put in scrapbook stuff. We have some ephemera, die cuts, stickers. And then we have some cut file over here. And then we have some pictures. And then I did a little bit of mixed media here. So this paper is kind of like a Tomoe River paper. And so this is really a great quality paper. Although if you're going to use a whole lot of water, I would still recommend kind of applying gesso first in here before you do anything crazy with mixed media. Okay, so this one I did a little bit of mixed media too. I think this is Distress Oxide inks that I used in there. And then sometimes it's all just clean and stuff like this with just ephemera and things like that. And this is where you're going to see my style is just really everything. I don't stick to one style because I don't want to be bored. I think that's it. I feel like I'm going to get bored if I stick to just one style of journaling or one style of ephemera pieces that I'm using. I just love different brands and I just need to buy all the stuff and use them, because I use them. Really, junk journaling, you know what? Junk journaling is something like you don't really have to overthink things because people really create different things. I've seen a lot of people doing junk journaling with just magazines, just stripped from magazines, newspaper, old books, old pages from books, which I really love. I actually told my daughter that we should go thrift shopping so I can buy like an old book and I can include it here. But I don't need those yet just because I still have a lot of Prima Marketing, and Prima Marketing creates this type of paper. So they have really vintage, shabby chic type. And I love Prima Marketing for that. And I do have still a lot of pattern paper, so I'm really not in a hurry to get old books from thrift store. But here I did a little bit of, a little bit of mixed media too, just to have a little bit of background. But it's clean, just a few stickers. This one I kind of went a little overboard with all my ephemera pieces in here. I have everything like stick everything in this page. I did a little bit of mixed media, but then I didn't really like what it turned out. So I just kind of covered it all with ephemera pieces in there. But because of the color, because it's colorful, it's still very pleasing to the eyes, Okay, so this one is more really mixed media. I did use some stencils in here and also use some sponge daubers to create that. And I used some stencils to create those shapes in this one as well. And so this is the vellum piece that everybody was asking on Instagram how I tape the vellum. So I just used a tape runner and taped it on the side because I'm not really going to keep opening this stuff up. And also I made a mistake. I used some ink that is the VersaFine on the vellum. Don't use VersaFine on a vellum paper because they don't really dry. Unless you're going to emboss it, then it's okay. So I'm going to have to do something about that because it keeps rubbing off my fingers. See? So that's still wet. If you want to use something in there, you want to use the archival ink. This Ranger is good. Or also the StazOn ink is good for vellum and acetate and pictures. See? It keeps rubbing off. So that's the VersaFine black. So you don't want that to happen. So every time I am going to a new page, because this notebook doesn't come with a bookmark, what they did was you can actually peel this one so you know where you're at. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's different. Okay, so we have this page here. All right, I have this photo of my son and his choir. You can't really see him. Where is he here? He's there in the front. So there. So that's what we're going to journal today. So I have some paper in here. I found this paper that's like very perfect because it has musical notes. And I'm going to go grab some stencils. I have some stencils. I bought this package of stencil from Amazon, and it's really, really good. I mean, I'm really loving these stencils, and it's not expensive at all. I still haven't found the link. I promise I will find the link and I will include it here in this video. I will not stop tonight. So let's just go look for some stencils in here. I think I kind of like this one better. So we're just going to put that over here. Okay, so this one's a little too orangey for me, all right? So what I have here is just an acrylic paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in some acrylic in here. Basically, we're going to use this part. And this is what I do when I'm journaling. I don't, especially this type of journaling, is I just peel paper. I don't worry about things. I kind of just push them over like this to give it a little bit of texture. And that's what makes it, I think, very interesting also, is when you have textures like that. Mixed media, I've learned, is all about the textures. It's like layers and layers and textures here. So since this is too orangey for me or too warm for me, I'm just going to apply a little bit of acrylic paint. That's just acrylic. And I'm going to use this brush that I haven't even cleaned yet. I have this laying in here. What happens with mixed media is if you don't want to be messy, mixed media is definitely not for you. At first, I was very scared of mixed media just because of that. Because I don't like mess too much. So I just squirted a little bit of water in here. I'm just going to use my knife to kind of move the paint over because I don't necessarily want to cover the whole thing. I just want to lighten it up. I don't want to cover too much. So we're just going to lighten up this paper, but still let those pattern and the print peek through it. So I'm just spreading it with my palette knife, and I'm going to pick up the excess. And the good thing with acrylic paint is that they dry really quick. So you have to move a little bit fast also when you're working with acrylic because they really dry fast. I can't move those anymore because those are dry. So I just have paper towel always. And then I have a bottle here, Mister. This is from Tim Holtz. So this one, just let that dry a little bit. Let's see here. Bring back our notebook. See, we're just needing to peel a little bit more. But we're almost perfect for an A5. Again, I'm not aiming for perfect here. So we're just like that. Look at my mess. There. I like that already. And then we're going to get that piece of musical notes. I'm going to put this under this one. I want to make sure that this is peaking on this side. All right, so let me grab my tape runner. I'm just gonna go secure this already. On this side, over here. And when you're watching this on a time lapse, I know sometimes it's really hard to see everything that I'm doing. You know, it's like, what did you do? How did you do that, Lhey? I get a lot of questions like that. So I figured, since I wanted to journal today anyways, might as well go live here and join you guys. So I'm just peeling a little bit more because I want a little bit of that paper to peek in there for no rhyme or reasons. Okay, and then I'm just gonna push this back like that. So we'll build a little bit of texture in there. Okay, so since that is showing, what I'm going to do is I have some ink in here. That's not what I'm planning on doing. Grabbing I'm grabbing some distress ink and distress oxide here. I know there's some too much pink in there, but we're gonna see if it's gonna work for us. Okay. This one is really, really strong. So when you're using this distress ink, because it's ink, so this is dye-based. The difference from the distress ink and the distress oxide, distress oxide, this is made out of pigments. So it's going to be very opaque. This one, the ink, it will really stay into the on top of that paper. No, I mean, it's really going to bleed into the paper. So we want to be careful with that because that's dye based. So there's a very tendency of that bleeding through this paper. So I'm just dipping my finger in my gesso, and I'm just going to gesso this real quick. I have no problem getting messy here. Like that. And I always have baby wipes close to me. There we go. So I can just clean up after every single thing that I apply in there. So just have a baby wipes and just clean up and let that dry real quick. But me, I'm really impatient. So what I do all the time is I have my heat gun also, and then ready to just blast this. Be careful also because you don't want your paper to buckle too much. So be gentle when you're using your heat gun too. But that's normal also. I mean, I'm okay with it buckling sometimes because it's part of that mixed media look. Okay, so we're gonna grab that stencil that we picked, this one. It's really fun. It's like a geometrical. So we're gonna put it in here. Let's grab that paper so we can see what we have. So we have just a little bit here that I want. Okay, I'm just gonna put it right there. And then we're gonna use this one. This is the Distress ink. This is the walnut stain. This is really to make paper and stamping look like aged, very vintagey. We'll get a little bit of that onto the pattern paper as well. The musical notes over here. I hope that gesso was dry already. There. Have a little bit of that. And just clean up. I like to clean things up after I use them, just because I don't want too much of a mess, because mixed media is already messy as it is. So we're gonna leave it like that. And then I am going to use the same ink, and then we're just going to run it through here. See that? So we don't have that torn paper. We want the torn paper, but we don't want it to stand out though. I didn't want that to stand out too much. There. So it just gives that distress and vintage look to it. Let's see, I think I want to like that over there. So it kind of matches the rest of the paper. You know, you have that vintage look and that torn paper. So I'm just dipping and just applying it on the side of the paper. And I'm going to go over here too into the corners without having to be too careful. You just kind of relax and enjoy. Look how much you're putting in there. And if you think you applied too much, then kind of just blend it over on the side. I guess the more distressed it is the more vintagey and aged it looks. It's so cool. My husband always say, I have never thought that you would do something like this. I thought you've always liked the cute stuff. I said, I do. I love the kawaii style, but then I have this other side of me that's like fallen in love with this vintage style of journaling, with this junk journaling. It's just super different. Super fun. Because I know we applied that white acrylic, but that's just to cover up some of the pattern and for it to not stand out, because believe it or not, I'll be adding some stamping in here also. That just makes it super different. All right, so I have that here. Okay, and do the same thing here. I'm gonna darken this area out here. Kind of like messy, grungy look. There. So I'm just using up what I have left in my brush, and I'm just really pressing that down, and then blend. Go into a circular motion when you're doing it, so you don't get harsh lines or anything like that. So I feel like I need more, so I just dip a little bit. And see how I have my thumb over here? And that's where I have control of that brush. And I'm just gonna go round in circular motion like this, so I can apply it evenly. These brushes are also available on Amazon. So there. I have it. Perfect. All right, now so I'm going to put some adhesive in here. I got this one from Joann's because I use so much tape. I really like my things really taped in. I'm very generous when it comes to tape. I don't fool around that. I don't like things flying around. So we have that there. Oh, that's super cool. Have a little bit of the yellow peeking through because of that torn area there. That's fun. I feel like now what we did here, that white, sometimes I feel like it's a little too white now. I know. This is what I do. It's kind of like I apply it and then I can take it off. But it's okay. That's the beauty of that thing here. So I'm just applying, just using everything that was left in that brush to kind of just tone that white down, because it's just a little too white. There. So we have that. Okay, now this time I feel like I really want to use another color in here. I mean, another pattern. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that pattern. I'm going to use the same walnut stain distress ink. I'm just going to go over here. Just going to apply a little bit here. And when I do this, I kind of like it when it's like everywhere. You know, it's like different patterns everywhere. Not too balanced, just kind of free flowing. Kind of like not planned. Just peeking through areas. Just going to add a little bit here too. You can use your pointer finger for your pressure, or you can use your thumb. But since I'm here on the side, it's hard to use the thumb sometimes. So I'm just going to switch to my pointer. And then we have a little bit of that now. Ah, look how pretty that is. That is just super pretty already. So I'm just going to do this because my paper is buckling. I feel like I need adhesive in here. There. There we go. That is looking pretty. Okay, I don't want this to be an odd pattern in there, so we're going to add a little bit of that pattern over here. And I feel like I want to add another color. Okay, so this is not supposed to be, it's a dye ink too. I mean, what's going to hurt, right? So we're just going to get that color. This is a burnt sienna from Prima Marketing. So we'll just use that. I'm just going to go create that pattern here, but a different color. As you can see, mixed media is just layers, layers and layers over and over here. So we're just going to add that and see what we have, see what we come up with. Ooh, I like it. I like that. Let's add a little bit here. Oops. Dipped it in the walnut stain. That's okay. That's fine there. I like that. Now, see the arrow is kind of like pointing up and all that stuff. That's going to help also to build up the visual of where we're going to put the photo. So if I'm going to put the picture in here, those arrows are kind of like telling you, your audience, whoever is looking at that, is like look up in here, and that's where you put your focus, is in that picture. I'm just adding a little bit of brown here because I kind of pushed it over and the yellow is showing. There. And I want to back up this photo so it would pop. Something we can use like that. We can use more like this. We can use here with some stamping in here. I like this part right over here. Let's forget this stuff. I like that those are showing. It's a little too much. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go distress the side of this one so it's not white. But let's go do this. Kind of like do that. I know there are some tools for that, but it's like really you can just use it. Use your finger. Sometimes you can use your scissors, you know. So we're just going to distress this. So it's not too yellow. I love it. All right, so I'm going to tape that in so I'm not so indecisive. Sometimes when I overthink things, that's when I take forever. Simply because I'm just overthinking things too much. And that's not always good. You want it to be just relaxing and just very free-flowing. So I'm going to commit and then just put it right over here. right there. Just adding a little bit of brown. All right, and then we'll add that photo right over there. I like that. At this point, you can add some ephemera pieces in here. You can add more stamping, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add a little bit more stamping in here. I have these pieces. I want something to pop, so I'm going to use the black, and we're going to use the archival ink. We're going to use this one. And I'm just going to, this one is from Giro Creative. And so I'm going to add a little bit here. So rubber stamps, I love the aesthetic of rubber stamp. It's just hard to store them because if once you get a lot already, then it's really hard to find places to store them. It's like, oh, I'm building my collection, and then you have to have big space. And I'm going to use another one. This one has like script and then the floral. It looks really good also. So we're going to use it and put it over here too. So this time, my intention here is to kind of frame the photo where visually your eyes will just focus on this picture, you know, and not on the busyness of your page, because when you're doing mixed media, of course, it would tend to look busy just because of the layers that we keep adding in here. So framing my photo with these stamps, it just kind of helps that visually that, hey, you know, this is the picture. Look at the picture, focus on the picture, because that's what I'm trying to sell. And then this one, I don't know about this one. It just kind of looks really odd, but okay. I have this one that's unused. This is from Prima Marketing. It's a clear stamp. So we're going to need acrylic block for this one. Do I have acrylic block on this table? Yes, I do. Wow, this is really, really sticky. Ooh, brand new. Okay, so we're going to stick it to an acrylic block. And this time I'm going to grab my ink here and just ink it up this way. This way you can also see how much ink you have in here. There. My finger is messy. Where do I want to put this script? Okay, I think I'm going to add some brown in here. So this is the walnut stain from the Distress ink. So I'm just going to apply it here at the bottom. All right. Just apply pressure. And even if it's not perfect, it's okay, because it's a mixed media project. It doesn't have to be like super perfect and clean impression in there, so that's cool. Aha. That's it. And then I think what I'm going to do here, lastly, is I'm going to grab, some shimmer spray. I love using some shimmer spray here. This one is from Prima Marketing also. This is their fine shimmer spray. I'm just going to close my inks because I don't want them to. Okay. So this time what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you guys real quick. We're going to move this notebook first. And I'm going to grab my craft mat. Okay. This is the craft mat. I'm just moving things around. Okay. And I'm going to put the shimmer spray in here, okay? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my stencil. I'm not sure if this is the one I want to use or maybe this one. Maybe this one. I'm just going to spray a little bit of water, just one. Okay, one One is all I need. And I'm just going to use this one to just kind of spread it around. Okay, paper towel. And then we're just going to dip this stencil, part of that stencil. And you can see we have all those. And this is what we're going to use in our paper. I'm going to use that craft mat. And I'm going to put over here so I don't make a mess. And this is what we're going to do. So we're going to apply it here. I'm going against that pattern that we created over there. And I know I have a little bit more, so I'm just gonna go put it right over here. And then last one, put it right over there. I'm just making them kiss. So we have those pattern in here. And that's it. And when that dries, it's gonna have that shimmer, pretty shimmer. I don't wanna waste all those, but I'm going to because I don't wanna make a mess. We still have a lot of shimmer on that page. And then when that dries, it's gonna have this gold, really pretty effect in them, but that's what we have. Look at that. I can use the heat gun and see what it's going to look like so you guys can see. I like to hold the corner of my page so I can prevent it from buckling. Wow, look at that. Be careful with your picture. Oh, that looks really pretty. I love it. Oh, I love that. Now onto the other side. This one's really wet. What you can do is just let it sip it. I like to do that sometimes. Just dabbing the paper towel. Wow. I love that look. See, when you have a little bit of that puddle of that gold, you get a little bit of different color. But then that's just another layer that you added in there. All right. And then lastly, I promise it's the last one. I'm just trying to grab some metallic marker in here. So we're going to add something in there. I love to do this. These are great metallic markers. This one is the Pitt Artist, and this one is Faber-Castell. Same brand, but it really is the metallic. So let's see which one's better. I always like this one from the metallic. And I'm just... I always like to add my own personal patterns in here. Just irregular shapes. And then you add some... the black one. This is Faber-Castell also. I love using the Faber-Castell because they're really black, and also they're waterproof, and they're also archival. So that means it will last you longer. So even if you spill something in here, or if you work with water in here, then you accidentally, you know, make some mess of the water, knowing that this will not be affected always makes me feel better. That's why I love using waterproof pens and markers. And then that's it. it's just like adding scribbles in there and stuff like that. But see, that's one is like very, very warm yellow tone. This one is not too much, more on the bronzy, like coppery side of gold, but both are really, really pretty. But that's it, guys. Oh my goodness, I love it. I like that. Wow. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I hope that you this inspired you to try some mixed media journaling and not get overwhelmed. You don't need a whole lot of things. I mean, try using just some old pattern papers in there. And I'm pretty sure you have like acrylic paints, you know, in the house, something that you from your kids, grandkids, or yourself, you know. Try it, play with it, just make a mess. And really, the key to it is just have fun. Really have fun with it. But if you have any questions for me, don't forget to leave them in the comment section down below. I might have missed some of your chat messages because I was really focused into this notebook. But I'm going to go through the messages also and see if I can answer some of your questions. But my name is Lhey. Thank you for joining me. And I can't wait to see you again for another video. Thanks, guys. Bye.